And welcome to another episode of Points of Interest, our drone cast. And we're glad you're here today. We've got a great interview today, as we do every week. This time with, hey, that's a cool sound.
Sorry. That was me or you?
It's all good technology all around us, and it's all good. We've got Chris Teal. Chris Teal is an amazing, maybe the best of the best in FPV. And he lives out in California, does these festivals and things. We've got him on the show today. And we're going to talk kind of about some of the crazy sadness that's going on for DJI and the rest of us, all kind of sitting and waiting to figure out what the hell's going on.
That's true.
So sit back and enjoy this Points of Interest. Exploring the people, places, and technology in the growing drone industry. This is the Points of Interest Dronecast. Hey, so we got a cool show for us today. We feel like it's going to be the rant show. Is that
Yes, the rant show, definitely.
We have been dealing with all of this information. We've been talking about it for weeks with our show about the legislation around DJI and being banned. And I think everything has kind of reached a fever pitch.
Yeah, and it affects me too as far as getting parts.
Right. So what are we going to do? It's crazy. We'll get into that. But I first want to get into our interview. As you know, every week we try to highlight somebody, hopefully in our own neighborhood.
Yes.
But sometimes we have to reach across the entire country.
3,000 miles away.
Yeah, over into California for a guy who is amazing. Chris Teal is known as WestPsyde. I don't do the gang things I can't do. But he is FPV personified. And he's only been doing it for like 4 years or something. And he is so amazing. He won the $1 million challenge from GoPro.
So he won $1 million.
Yeah. Very neat guy. I mean, he's just kind of cool to hang out with. But if you go to his sites, his YouTube site and everything, you can really get a glimpse of his personality. He is kind of a wild and crazy guy. And not only good at the drone stuff, but he's kind of a personality for on camera too. He's a creator. He does amazing editing. He's the whole package. I mean, he really is what any of us would wish to be. And I'm really excited about this interview. So let's take a look.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're here today with Chris Teal, who is a drone pilot, and he's really the festival guy. Would you say, Chris?
Yeah, one of them. There's a few of us out there.
Well, I have never seen one better, and I think your accolades and awards kind of tell it all. Tell me, Chris, tell me about those accolades and awards you've gotten in the last few years.
Oh man. Well, last few years, we'll just go back to where it started. I guess. Like the first real big thing I won wasn't even that big. It was, a lot of the FPV guys will know UAV Futures, that Australian guy Stu, and that's kind of where a lot of us get started. Was his $200 DIY build, but he did some some video competition. Basically, it said give us a video explaining how drones changed your life, saved your life. Basically how drones have impacted your life. And I was very green to video production and video editing, and I had a little bit of experience just with FPV, maybe a year or two. And me and my buddy got together and we made this little video project, and we won Stu's competition. We won like a bind and fly drone, set of goggles, a remote, and that was like really the first time I felt like, oh wow, FPV, I could like do something with this. Like at least there's something there. I felt like there was something there, and the next couple of years, I definitely just pushed myself. And one of my friends mentioned Boston Drone Film Festival, so me and two of my friends, Virgin and Spoonie J, we got together and put together an edit of base jumps, and it took first place in the sports category and grand prize. And that kind of got us our first real camera package. The prize package was, Sony A7 III with real nice lenses, a little trip to go with it, and that was so amazing. That was really hard to believe that we actually won that.
And just give us a reference
And
of how long ago was this?
2018, 17, 19. I'm horrible with years. Somewhere around there,
Before
17 to
COVID.
19, before COVID, and then maybe like a year later, 2000. This is 2019 at this point. 2019 with the Hero 8, I won the GoPro $1 Million Challenge. That was huge for me. That kind of started my drone dreams. More than just a hobby into like an actual business. Venture, and it's been working.
Wow. Now, was your first drone more of a cinematic drone, or did you go right into
Oh
FPV?
no, it was an old. I think I was gonna get the QAV or the Wizard, the knockoff QAV on Alibaba or Banggood, and I just saw how long it was gonna take, and I said, nope, I want to fly now. So I just kind of saw what parts were in it and ordered it all off Amazon, put it all together with zero knowledge, watching zero videos, zero anything. Like I was just like, I'll figure it out,
Oh gosh, how
and
many times did you crash that one?
it took me 2 3 weeks before I could fly without you know getting through a battery. It took me 3 weeks to actually get through one battery without just completely demolishing the drone. And every crash it would be, oh, I got to wait for an arm, or I got to wait for a motor, or wait for an ESC. It was I was breaking stuff every crash. So at first, it was pretty discouraging. I remember going to the park and just thinking, how do these guys even do this? Like in my head, I was like, this is just not possible. Whereas today, like, the way to do it is a simulator. Spend 10 minutes on a simulator, you're going to get more experience than I did in 2 weeks, and
What
that
was the break?
really
What was the
is.
breakthrough moment for you? Do you remember?
I don't know. I was at this real big golf course. I kept trying to fly small parks, and that was a big mistake. You need a real big park that you can pick a line and really fine tune your line and do your little micro adjustments. Okay, that does that, that does that. And I just remember doing like figure eights. Once I picked up my figure eights, it was like, oh, okay. It reminded me a lot like skiing, like where I was like, I got on skis and I couldn't figure it out at first, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. I think that's what FPV is once you get it, you get it. You can't unlearn it, so.
But you were on Black Diamond slope real quick in the drone world. So
Oh yeah.
tell me about some of the highlights of doing that, and when did you get your first festival?
A lot of my FPV career has just been mountain flying. Like that's really where I find the most peace, and the stress is there, but not too much. You
Where's
might
that
not get your drone
location?
back, but
Where's
go
that
ahead.
location you sent me the clips we're going to look at right now of those cliffs that are like Utah? Is that where?
Probably Fisher Towers. I do a lot of flying in Moab area. I lived in Grand Junction, Colorado for almost 8 years. So like most of my long range flying's Colorado based or Utah based. Moab was only 90 minutes away, so we were always down there flying the big mountains outside of the national park, of course.
Sure, sure.
Um, and But yeah, that's probably Fisher Tower. I think I sent you a Fisher Towers clip. That's, I would say, my favorite place on earth to fly drones. It's open airspace. There's a camp spot right there. You can fly from camp if you want to. There's a parking lot. Everybody that's there's never been an issue with drones. They're always just amazed. Oh man, I wish I could do that. They're looking at the mountain, having to hike it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be up and back in 2 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, and one of the things I noticed real quickly on that was some of the distances you were flying from wherever you were. It seemed like it was a pretty good length of flight
I
around.
would say my flying is very deceiving. It might look like it's 2 or 3 miles, but in all honesty, most of the flying I do is less than a mile and a half. Um, all that's with a 5 inch. Like I know, like everybody's like, oh, you got to get a 7 inch to fly these mountains, or six. You don't. You just need a 5 inch with a good battery and know how to throttle management. And I actually prefer a 5 inch for flying mountains, just before the reason it gives me the confidence to get closer to the cliffs, lower in the gaps, and you have that response to pop out if you need. Smaller so you can hit tinier gaps. There's just a lot of reasons that I like a 5 inch for mountain flying.
Sure. Now, when was the first festival?
First festival I flew was EDC Orlando last year, 2023. I had been working with my buddy Derek. He's actually who I learned all this stuff from, Derek Slaytech FPV. But he had been doing it a couple years as far as helping and flying one here or there, but he wasn't like their main guy. Now he was there when I started helping out. He started being their main guy, and I was his VO, and that's where I learned a lot of it, just VOing for Derek. And for a lot of these people, like I've been getting asked a lot, like how do you get into this? How do you start? It's really you just have to put yourself in the same circle, find out who's flying these things, say, hey, I'm available for VO. Oh, you got a VO? That's fine. If he is working or can't do it, whatever, call me next. Just get on the short list. That's really all it is. Get on the short list. That's kind of what happened. He had VOs that he was working with, but I kept bugging him, and I let him know, hey, like I really love the music. Like, please let me come do this with you, and I showed up and I used all my pilot skills, in as a VO, and it definitely shows. Definitely knowing the music helps a lot with these festivals.
Sure.
Just
And the
timing.
reason you know the music is because you also DJ. Is that right?
Exactly. Like my hobby before FPV was, DJing. I would DJ up in Colorado. We would do college party. I've done everything from weddings to college parties to school proms, but I really like desert parties or like just little EDM shows, electronic music shows.
Sure.
And
So, are you a tractor guy, a virtual DJ guy? What are
yep,
you?
tractor, exactly. Tractor. I run tractor, native instrument stuff. I have a tractor S4 that's been my. Everybody's all about the CDJs, but I've seen friends with CDJs transport them in and out, and I like showing up with my laptop and my tiny mixer that fits in my backpack and
No, there you go.
being able to throw a set down.
There you go. I own a pair of 3000s, and
Yeah, so
I never use it. I actually
yeah,
bought them to rent them.
exactly.
I use a Denon. What is it? 8,000. 8,000 is what I
Yep.
use on a daily. But that's cool. I love talking to other DJs. It's really funny. I have found this to be true that there's a bunch of DJs who ended up in drones. I don't know why.
100%.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, but it does work. And when you're editing, you're a better editor if you're a DJ because you kind of know how to put the music to the beat, to the beat, to the.
That's my favorite part of the edit is finding the right song.
Right, right. So there's a whole lot of connection there, and I think that's what's great. And you're not the first person I've met that comes from that world first.
Yep.
So then you got to meet some of your DJ, I'm sure, superstar.
We really don't meet too many of them. We've met a few of them. Like we've done a direct show with two friends and a direct show with Fisher, and we got to meet and coordinate a little bit. And more often than not, if I am talking to the team, it's not the artist; it'll be the artist manager, the media guy, or whoever's running their, because they're the ones really in charge of the footage and what the shots that they're after and this and that.
And I noticed
yeah,
a lot of your
that's
footage, you seem to have a coordination with the acts on the stage, right?
yeah. So sometimes we always get shot notes, whether it be we can fly within 5 feet of this person or no drones on stage. Sometimes that's the thing where they don't even want a drone on stage, whether it because it's something they have personally or bad experience in the past, whatever. We don't question it. They ask for something, we try to deliver.
Right. Dead
But
Mouse
some of them,
has the only proper headgear.
exactly right, exactly. And sometimes, like in the case with this last one, Dead Mouse his team had reached out to the media company that hired us and said, hey, we want to do this thing, and so it was fairly coordinated. We didn't know the timing, and it's timing is everything with these things. Like if it just doesn't work, don't even try it. But like I saw him go for the net, and I was like, okay, timing's right, and we went in and we made it happen. And the crowd loved it. That was probably my favorite thing was the crowd reaction. Like the whole crowd started screaming when it happened. I was like, oh man,
And did that hurt the drone? Because I think he pulled the
not at
drone out and
all,
flew again,
not at
right?
all. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, he pulled out of the net, and I took off from his hand.
That is really cool. That is
Yeah.
an amazing shot. When I saw that the first time, I was like, wow. That was a really unique stunt, if you would. So, tell me more about some of the festivals. Tell me the festivals you have been a part of.
I really have only done a few of them. I've done EDC Orlando. That was in Orlando, Florida. Countdown New Year's Eve. That's at NOS Center, the National Orange Center in San Bernardino, California. Beyond Wonderland, which is also at the same venue, the Orange Center in San Bernardino, and then EDC Vegas. This was actually only my fourth one flying.
Okay. And outside of festivals, what's some of your other client types that you have?
Like I do a lot of just I've done stuff at like Irwindale Speedway, like private, like Christmas shoots, or I do a lot of off-road stuff, like live stream, like for King of the Hammers. It's a big off-road race in the deserts down here in SoCal. Uh,
Yeah, that was
10
some
days
incredible
of
footage too. A
yeah,
couple of
10
times
days
you were, I
of
mean, you almost flew through the windows on those.
yeah, like that was so much fun. That's a whole different kind of fun in itself, but that's a lot of fun. Mint 400. That one I was just doing Mavic stuff. So, I do everything involved in drones, whether it be designing them, building them, flying them, FPV, Mavic, whatever, I just like drones.
Any commercial work that we've seen maybe on TV?
Nothing on TV, I would say. Nothing, no lifter work yet. I've, got a lifter. I don't have any, FX6 or Komodo on hand yet, but I got my hands full with GoPro stuff and I like it. So until somebody's like, okay, the job is yours, we need a lifter. And even at that point, I will probably sub out my friends and come on as, whether it be DP. I'm really good at directing too, I think. Like, just directing shots. I really like doing that. And I love movies. I love cinematography. That's big. Like I'm always watching movies. I know a lot of people are gamers. Like I don't game at all. I'm more into movies and like cinematography than playing games. But I know that most FPV pilots are gamers too. I just never fell into that.
No, I've never been a gamer too. I love movies. I love great movie work, and cinematography is amazing.
Yeah,
That's what I am more into. And people see me playing with a drone and think, "Oh, you must play a lot of
yeah,
combat this or whatever." And I'm like, "No, no, don't touch it.
yeah,
It's a waste of my time."
yeah.
But
That's
I
kind of
have
how I
seen a lot
feel,
of
and I know it's not, but yeah, it's definitely. I've always definitely felt like, oh man, I'm not getting these minutes back.
Sure, that's exactly right. So, how many drones would you bring to a shoot like a festival?
I always bring two. Um, yeah, I always bring two identical with spare naked GoPro, spare parts for almost another one. I do not absolutely do not like to build on site. But if something happens and you end up losing two, three drones like that, you really shouldn't need a third drone. If you crash your first one and you crash your second one,
It's
you
time to go
probably should
home.
not fly again. Exactly. You should probably go home.
Right, right. So, what's up next, Chris, for you, and in either festivals or
That's
shoots?
that's also a downside of this is like it's very cutthroat and last minute, and we really are some of the last people to know that we're working these events. So that's unfortunate, but within the last 2 days, I've picked up one this weekend in Denver that I'll be flying out to Regenerate Fest, and then just another smaller show down here in LA on the 15th. Um, I really like the smaller shows, the single stage shows. It's a lot less work, a lot less walking. You show up, you set up one spot, and you fly from there. Whereas EDC was 9 stages. It was nonstop walking, nonstop dumping footage, grabbing batteries, charging battery. It was a madhouse.
Right. Have you ever thought about or been invited to do Burning Man or anything like that?
I would love to do Burning Man. Like, see, and like that. Here's the thing with like EDC. I probably never would have bought tickets for it or gone to it because it's just so much, so expensive. It's like, and I kind of like will pick something with less people just on the fact that there's less people. I hate dealing with big crowds, but if I'm getting paid, it changes how I feel. So same with Burning Man. Like I probably wouldn't pay to go to Burning Man, but if I was hired to do it, I would be so excited.
And you do this full time, right? I'm assuming.
I try to, but freelance work is you never know.
So then tell people how can they get in touch with you, Chris? Because your work is outstanding. I mean, we're watching it here through this whole video, and people
Oh,
can
great.
see you're one of the very best that I've ever seen. And I know
Thank
there's
you.
bound to be some producers and promoters out there that would love to have you do their events. Let them know
I
right
would
now how
love
to get
to.
in touch
Yeah,
with
I
you.
would love it. Yeah, so I'm very responsive on Facebook. Chris Teal. Pretty easy to find. I'm in all the drone Facebook groups if that's your method of communication. I know some people don't even ever open Facebook and are on Instagram. Instagram, I'm WestSyde FPV, WestPsyde, kind of like psychedelics. That's why I
like that. I
wrote it
like
that
that
way.
name. Give me a real quick. How did you come up with that?
So I actually started producing music under WestSyde a long time ago. That was where I started WestSyde, and I DJ'd under DJ Taurus. That was my moniker for DJing. And when I started FPV, there was already an Taurus FPV. So I was like, I'm not producing music anymore. I'm taking WestSyde for my FPV. So that's where I'm at, WestSyde. I'm from the West Coast, lived on the west side of Colorado, and I'm a big fan of psychedelic music, psychedelics. So that's where WestSyde came from.
Nice, nice. All right, did we finish getting all the information out that you need people to know for
I
getting
think
in touch
so.
with you?
Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok now. I just started doing more TikTok stuff and not really responsive on there, but I post and I respond to comments.
Cool. Well, Chris, first of all, thanks for being on Points of Interest today. But I want you to just throw me an email anytime you're doing something big so that I can throw it out there to all of our drone friends and maybe even some of our festival, DJ friends and say, hey, look out for this guy. He's going to be at the festival. If you see a drone in the air, it's probably Chris. So, okay. Well, look, thanks again for being part of this, and we'll see you soon, okay?
All righty.
Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, WestSyde out.
So that was Chris. What'd you think?
This guy is definitely similar to me, but he's way more talented.
Well,
as far as flying.
I don't know. You're very talented, Prak. But yeah, he's a great flyer and a really cool, just creator.
The vault drone. The vault. So you can,
Yes.
can you cut a tree with it? Can you drill a hole with a drone?
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him about that during the interview because I got kind of awestruck with him because he has done some really incredible things and he's involved in the DJ world. And you might can tell from the interview that I was really interested in what he had done.
You are a DJ yourself?
Right. Well, it used to be,
So he's a hybrid of us.
Yeah, so to speak. I guess very similar background as him.
CNC, 3D printing, those are stuff I'm
That's
into.
your stuff.
Yeah,
and
drones.
So what it looked like he did is he took all the money that he made. I don't know exactly how much of the million became his money, but he took that and he built this studio in the back of his house with a CNC, the 3D
exactly
printers.
what I would do.
Yeah.
If I win $1 million, I'll probably spend $2 million.
Sure.
The gear.
Sure, go into debt. Yeah. But he's turned that into his thing, the drone company, and the interesting thing, drone company says Drone Co. is that the company. It really started as Colorado because that's where he started.
Yeah, Drone Co.
Yep. And then he turned out.
When I started my drone business, IrepairMD.
Yeah.
They thought I was in Maryland.
MD, Maryland. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, the other cool thing, and I think we were talking about this, is he's building a drone now to go after the speed records.
Oh, yes.
We saw and we highlighted on one of the shows.
These things are quasi rocket. It looks like a rocket and it's insane.
I don't think his is that same design.
Yeah.
That was the thing we highlighted
speed,
on a previous show that they had one that does like 200 and some miles an hour. He is building one that he says is going to go even faster. So,
dude, I can see that being used in the Ukraine.
Sure. Get things done fast.
Oh, yes.
Well, he and I look forward to kind of getting back to him about that kind of stuff because he is definitely the future of drones.
Did you see the Red Bull? They had a drone that was going for the record, and it was chasing after an F1 car, and it went faster. Is that his drone?
No, that was not his, but that's what he's basically going after.
He's going after that one.
Right.
Wow, that thing's insanely fast.
Oh, I know. And so watch for Chris. If you're at one of the festivals in the future, you'd be looking out. If you see a drone up in the air, you might see Chris over there.
We got to meet him face to face.
Yeah,
maybe
would be fun.
Yeah,
next time
fly us over to visit him.
Next time EDC comes to town, which it never does, but I think it does Philadelphia or maybe New York for sure.
Yep.
And we'll have to go see him. But anyway, enough of that. We want to get to our rant today because we are all just like on pins and needles about what the hell is going on with DJI. I've heard now that they took it to committee. It passed 57-1 to down DJI.
It makes no sense because basically, as you can see what I'm showing you, from 2018 all the way consecutively to 2023, they passed all the standard. 2018, the KIV Foundation found that DJI does not access photo, videos, or flight log unless the user choose to share it. And to this very day, I mean, even the EU has passed all its security check. And no matter what DJI does, it's going to be banned, similar to TikTok, no matter what's going to happen.
Sure. And without, I heard Mr. Wonderful, the guy in the Shark Tank, that he's actually looking to buy TikTok or create his own new version.
Well, TikTok is worth over like $200 billion. So.
Sure. And that's kind of what's happening with the guy in Texas who has created this new company, buying the technology away from DJI.
Yeah.
But DJI is really just
licensing it,
Yeah, they're licensing it. They're going to make the same money probably. Yeah. But there's another thing that I've heard this week, and this is why it just continues to get weirder and weirder. Yeah. There's a ban by 2030 that all parts cannot come from China.
Yeah, and that's pretty much every electronics. Okay, here's how. Okay, you have your drone with me for the past 2 months. What is the holdup? It's me getting the part.
Right.
It's almost literally impossible. And now the parts gotten more expensive. So what they're doing, I think, they're not preventing us from flying the drone now, but they prevent us from importing any more drone from China. So again, the police department and other places are buying up the drones because there will be a point where they can't. But then once you buy these drones, how you can get parts?
Sure. And this is more the confusion that I'm hearing. Like, and I'm going to show some photos of things I've seen on the internet this week alone of like, fly your drone for the last time. Boom.
This is pretty sad.
Yeah, and all this other things, grounded, all these kind of feelings of absolute woe. But then I hear or read that really it might just be that they're going to do a 30% tariff on top of the sale of DJI to force all the pricing up. So buy now. Now, is this some kind of ploy?
Well, kind of like what Europeans are doing with the Chinese EV that's going to Europe. They, because it's subsidized, and so Chinese government subsidized the EV to go to Europe, and Europe can't compete, so they put a tariff on it.
Right.
But again,
and I'm okay with that because we have to protect ourselves as a nation.
Definitely.
Our GDP is obviously lower than China.
I'm 100% capitalist. I don't believe in communism, but I do believe in a product that works. Something that is affordable and proven, to work.
Right.
And I have friends, and I myself in law enforcement. It hasn't changed their tone. They're still ordering and they're still buying DJI products because for 10 DJI drones, they can buy one of these US-made one. And the DJI product that's a fraction of the cost can run laps around the stuff that's the U.S. companies.
And then you take somebody like, many of you out there, if you're watching this show, you've probably spent $3, $4, $5, maybe $10,000 on your drones. I have personally spent.
Well, I'm looking all around here. Yeah. I think you have a house. A few $100,000 worth of drone here.
Well, at least $50,000.
Yeah. And what do you do with your drones? This is your bread and butter.
I'm making money,
Has it slowed down?
No. I was out doing RTK today. So, and I'm typically out there doing something. This past week, I had a new client shooting commercial real estate. Mm-hmm. And, I was out for 2 days in a row getting those pictures. Now, but what happens if those drones, that was a Mavic 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And the RTK is the Phantom RTK.
Yes.
What if, next time I go out a construction site, some guy comes over to me and says, excuse me, you can't be using that here. It's a DJI.
It makes no sense because everything that's available is already, a person don't need a drone. Someone in China can just go to Google Map, can just pull off telemetry. Every app, every service now are tracking info. DJI doesn't track where you go and share with the government. It does not. It just use it just if you get audited, then you submit your flight log. That's pretty much all it is with FAA. They don't track you unless you're violating the airspace.
Sure. So we could probably talk about this forever.
Yeah.
And there's so much to consider. And I'm going to just throw it out there to our audience. If you've got something you've heard that you've got a good handle on what may be going down in this incredibly
Send us a video.
confusing
Talk about it.
part of this, what really has been a great run for a technology that has come out of nowhere and taken over.
Yeah.
And I'm devastated. I mean, what if I am grounded $50,000 of my investment into a company that is of no use, that literally becomes paperweights? I don't know what to do.
I have, like, you know what? I feel for you. That's horrible. But what devastates me the most is not the money you invest into it. It's that it's banning a capable drone like DJI. It's gonna invite mediocre product in the U.S. and we can't compete. You know.
Right.
And DJI is an opportunity for us to actually, bring them in. We can learn. Why don't we reverse engineer? The Chinese have reverse engineered everything we do.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have some tech company just go ahead and reverse engineer China drone?
I didn't even mention this, but one of the newest things that just happened was yesterday, and I noticed it. I was trying to update a drone for a friend of mine. The whole process of the sync, where your data technology for your flights
Yep.
has been cut off.
Oh yes, it's not going to a server anymore.
No longer is a server.
Yeah.
Which is a great opportunity for DJI and China to show they're willing to make those sacrifices, or if it's a sacrifice.
Just incorporate in the U.S.
Right.
Sever all ties with the Chinese parent, and again, pay the licensing fee, like the guy in Texas is doing. You know,
So we can use maybe we can reprogram our drones.
our drone.
That's what we hope. I'd love to see
Yeah.
that. So again, let's just talk about what this show is about. This show is about all of us. Okay, if you're into droning, you're listening to this, you're listening to a million other podcasts, or reading stuff on, like, from the Masterminds guy or the Drone Boss guys. Anybody that's out there talking about these problems going on right now, get to us. We want to hear you. We'll put you on the show. We'll,
There's a whole
interview you.
lot of content creators. Talking about content creators, they're not even just drone directly. They use DJI drones to enhance their product. What are they going to do? They won't have aerials anymore.
No. So anyway,
but anyways,
that's
I'll stop
our
for now.
rant. We didn't even do any kind of news stories today to speak
I'm
of.
sorry.
We'll do some more, but we have a huge problem right now, and I'm not even going to do a Prak tip, because
My
you know
tip
what?
is keep your fingers crossed.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's all might be for naught. What if next week I'm looking for a job? If you're out there and you need somebody to come wash your car, let me know. I might have to do that for a while.
It'll be fun.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. And well, like you said, keep your fingers crossed.
Yep.
And
Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst.
Yep. Let me hear from you, please.
Don't sell your drones yet.
Send us emails if you want to be on the show. Want to chat with me?
Definitely.
Contact us.
We need your input.
Yep. All right, guys. Fly safe.